I do not know my real nature, Satchidananda. Second stage, veiling. I do not experience it. Clearly, I feel I don't experience suffering, but what I do experience is the body. What I do experience is the mind. What I do experience is I, the person. And I'm totally, utterly convinced this is what I am, and this is all that I am. In that case, one thing is guaranteed, suffering. Because this body is going to be, it's something or the other every day. This body is going to be sick, it's aging, there's disease. Somebody said, I was not seeing too clearly. And I went to the eye doctor and I said, I'm not seeing very clearly. And then he checked me. This was several years ago, nearly a decade ago. And the eye doctor said, oh, there is something seriously wrong. I said, what? He said, Swami, you have hit 40. You're more than 40 years old, and that's one of the clearest indications of being beyond 40 is that you need glasses often. Not everybody, if you're lucky, good genes, no, but often. And this is what young people do not realize. Let me break the news to you, those who are below 40. You think this is the way life is going to go on. No, it isn't. Everybody over 40 tells you, 40, you have reached the peak. Then it's the way down. It's on the way down. It's all downhill after that. Sure, you can manage the descent very carefully. You do yoga, you eat gluten-free. It's good. So the disintegration, aging, falling apart will be managed, and you will do much better than everybody else. Don't do it, that's unwise. You'll go down much faster. But the central truth is, after 40, it's downhill. What comes effortlessly to you physically, health-wise, when you're 21, when you are 18, that will still be there beyond 40, beyond 50, but it'll take effort. It'll take exercise and diet and stuff like that. So suffering, the third stage is suffering. It's guaranteed because we see ourselves as this body only, and the body leads to suffering. The mind leads to more suffering. Our thoughts, feelings, emotions, moment to moment, it varies and it gives trouble. Mind gives trouble. Sorrow, frustration, regret, guilt, all sorts. It's like a constellation of suffering. And then the fourth stage comes when the passerby, the guru, comes and tells you, don't worry, the 10th person is there. The 10th person is there. You don't know, the person didn't understand where is the 10th person, but he is assured that the 10th person is there. This is the stage of, in Sanskrit, paroksha jnanam. That's a mouthful, the big word. It means indirect knowledge, what we might call, I have read about it, I have heard about it, I sort of get it, but I'm not enlightened yet. I have to be honest, I'm still suffering. It hasn't made any decisive change in my life. Paroksha jnanam, indirect knowledge. This is when we read books and listen to talks and go on YouTube and come to seminars and retreats and camps. I have heard that the 10th person is there. I don't know where, how, but I've heard, and I believe it. I would like it to be true, and it comes from reliable authority. So he's telling me the 10th person is there. Okay, show me. And then comes the fifth stage, which is called aparoksha jnanam, which is direct knowledge. Literally, it means not indirect knowledge, not in the double negative. So direct knowledge, which is when the man comes and takes his hand around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and turns the hand, you are the 10th, thou art the 10th, dashamas tvamasi, in Sanskrit, you are the 10th. And he gets it. Oh, I get it now. I am the 10th. See, all the previous stages are reversed. Now he cannot say that I don't see the 10th person. I see the 10th person. He cannot say I don't know the 10th person. I know the 10th person. I am the 10th person. So that's aparoksha jnanam, where we suddenly, the veil lifts. It becomes clear immediately that there is one reality underlying all this diversity. That is one reality appearing as many. that I am not a body with a mind and consciousness, but I am consciousness, I am existence, I am awareness, I am Atman, Brahman, appearing as the body, mind, and all other things which appear. In me, everything is set. In the words of the Mundaka Upanishad, very beautiful mantra in the Mundaka Upanishad, the heavens and space and earth are set in that one reality, which you are. So that sudden, it dawns upon us. It's called aparoksha jnanam. And from that perspective, all our problems are solved. Just like you realize the 10th person is alive, oh, immediately all the sorrow goes away. This is called dukkha nivritti, 6th stage. 6th stage. Some of you looking puzzled. 6th stage of what again? The story, the 10th man story. There are 6 stages in spiritual life. The 6th stage is the removal of all sorrow. From that perspective, as that infinite existence, consciousness, bliss, which becomes absolutely clear to me, I am choicelessly, effortlessly, instantly, all the time, I am that. Great. From that perspective, no problem at all. So that is removal of all sorrow. And finally, the 7th stage, ananda prapti, the attainment of bliss or fulfillment. In my own infinite, limitless, immortal nature, I find it's a fact, it's the greatest of all facts. And that leads to fulfillment. So 7 stages. What are the 7 stages? There is first ignorance, ajnana, then there is veiling, avarana, then there is vikshepa, sorrow, suffering, distortion, and then there is paroksha jnanam, the first dawn of knowledge. When we hear, read, when we begin to get it, but still we are not enlightened, that's paroksha jnanam, indirect knowledge. And then aparoksha jnanam, direct knowledge, direct realization. Then there is dukkha nivritti, removal of suffering. And then there is ananda prapti, attainment of fulfillment. 7 stages. Why have I told you this story? We will see later. Now let's get to non-dual Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta. One of the texts which I like very much, it's in the Taittiriya Upanishad. I did some research. You haven't, but I did some research I was here in 2019. And I used this text also. So I might be charged with repeating the same thing all over again, but we're going to approach it in a different way here. But the text is very beautiful. It's worth listening to it again and again and pondering over it. One of the most ancient spiritual texts which has come down to us. It goes like this. It tells us what is Vedanta, what's the ultimate reality, how do we realize it, and what's the point of it all. 3 questions. What is the ultimate reality? What is this Brahman, Atman, pure consciousness, whatever it is, what's it exactly? And how do you realize it? How does it become a living reality for you? How do you become enlightened? Second, the method, the practice. Third, what do you get out of it? The result. All 3 are in this text. Let me chant the original for you and translate. Om Brahma Vidapnoti Param. The knower of Brahman attains the ultimate. The knower of Brahman attains the ultimate. This is in a short sentence all of Vedanta. It says that there is an ultimate reality. God, Brahman, Atman, the Buddha nature, whatever you call it, there is an ultimate reality. And you can know it, you can realize it, the knower of Brahman. That the point is to know it or realize it, to make it a living reality in our lives. And what do you get out of it? Attains the highest. And of course we want to know, what is this Brahman? What is this ultimate reality? Tell me a little more about it. Tell me, how can I know it? Knower of Brahman attains the highest, so how do I know Brahman? And finally, what is the highest? And what's the prize here? What are we here for on this rainy day? What's the ultimate prize here? So all 3 next few lines talk about it. I mean, this is sort of proto-religion or spirituality, the core of from which sort of you can imagine like rays from the sun. All sorts of spiritual paths and experiences and practices and realizations have come over the millennia. Tadeshabhyukta satyam jnanam anantam brahma yo veda yo veda nihitam guhayam parame vyoman so ashnute sarvan kaman sah brahmana vipaschiteti. It is said in the Vedas, Tadeshabhyukta. What is Brahman? What is the ultimate reality? Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Brahman is limitless, infinite existence, consciousness. Anantam, limitless. Satyam, reality or existence. Jnanam, knowledge or consciousness. Limitless existence, consciousness is Brahman. Okay. All right, we'll keep that aside for the time being. It's still very mysterious. But how do you know Brahman? The second question. The second question is answered this way. You know Brahman as in the sacred space of the cave of the heart. Yo veda nihitam guhayam parame vyoman. In the sacred space of the cave of the heart, which is just a fancy way, a poetical way of saying you know Brahman as you. I mean, what's the cave of the heart? What's the heart? What's the cave of the heart? It's the mind. Shankaracharya comments there in his commentary. He says, Buddhi guhayam, in the cave of the intellect, in the cave of the mind. So in our own minds, if you look into our own minds, and in our own minds, you have to realize, you have to find Brahman, that limitless existence consciousness. That means, to put it in brief, you have to realize this as I am Brahman. As I am Brahman. And not as that's Brahman, or there is Brahman there is some limitless existence in some seventh heaven. There may be, there is, but you have to realize it as I am that. Only then it's going to work. And what do you get out of it? What do you get out of it? So ashnute sarvan kaman saha. The prize, the result of it all is that one who realizes I am Brahman attains the fulfillment of all desires. Fulfillment of all desires. Whatever we could want in life. The reason why we are struggling in life. You're struggling for fulfillment. You struggle, you look at it, you try to look for it through money and education and relationships and power and achievement and Facebook likes and whatever. In all these ways, we are struggling in many ways trying to attain fulfillment without much success. Without much success. I mean, you just look at our own lives. Whether you're 20 years old or 80 years old, are we fulfilled? You tried for 20 years. You've tried for 80 years to fulfill, to become happy. I, me, mine, try to be happy. Am I happy right now? After 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years of trying, am I happy right now? Very few of us can claim that. And the claim of spirituality, not just Advaita Vedanta, claim of spirituality is it's possible. So here the text says, all our desires are fulfilled. How? All at once. All at once. Suddenly that fulfillment comes upon you in a moment. It's not like Amazon Prime, you've ordered everything and suddenly your house is overrun with boxes delivered to you. And is that Vedanta? No. But what we are trying to do through all those Amazon Prime orders, all of that is truly, really solidly attained. The Bhagavad Gita says, attaining that after which nothing greater remains to be attained. Being established in that from where the heaviest of sorrows cannot shake you. That's enlightenment. That's the result. That's what we're looking for. It's a tremendous prize. It's basically the goal of our lives. Basically, yoga is life itself. Life itself is yoga. We realize that after some time. If you don't know it, you just say, I'm living my life. If you know it, then you are deliberately, consciously practicing, you're a yogi. So this is the basis. The limitless existence consciousness is Brahman. You have to realize it at I am Brahman. And the result is the fulfillment of all our desires. All right. Now, in the time remaining, we will take up the second of these questions. How do I realize that I am Brahman? That in the sacred space of the cave of the heart, how do I realize that I am Brahman? We will pursue this inquiry together in the next few minutes and then do a meditation based on the teaching where the story will come back again, not to haunt us, but to help us. And then we'll open up for Q&A. So here's the way the Upanishad teaches us, the inquiry into ourselves. The look into ourselves to see that how am I limitless existence consciousness? What the Upanishad says is that you don't see yourself as Brahman, Atman, limitless existence consciousness, and we go, no, I don't feel any of that. All right, so what do you feel? I feel I am this being. And the Upanishad says, let's start there. Let's start with what you feel. Like any good teacher, you start where the student is. We think we are this body-mind complex, and the Upanishad starts the investigation there. This is all based on the Taittiriya Upanishad. And the Upanishad says, so you think you're the body? Yes. And the Upanishad gives us a term for the body. It says, Annamaya Atma, the self made of food, the self generated from food. And that's very evocative because the body is basically made of food. What we eat and drink is transformed into this body. So it's a modification, a product, a processing of whatever we eat. And that's why what we eat is important. Am I this food body? And the Upanishad says, take a look. Notice something. This body changes from birth to babyhood to childhood to youth to middle age to old age. It changes so much. And all of it is generated by food. And you feel that you are the same one. Yes, I was in that baby body. I was in the child's body, teenager's body. I was in the young person, the middle-aged person's body, and the elderly body. But I am the same one. They are not different people. By common sense, you're the same person, even though the body has changed so much. Not just common sense. By law regards you as the same person. You are the one who was that baby and the child and the young person, the middle-aged person. So, society, your own intuitive feeling, common sense, law, everything tells you you are the same person. And yet the body is literally not the same. It changed tremendously over the years and decades. By the way, this idea of the food body, that reminds me of a Buddhist meditation, which is very evocative and a little disheartening. It's meant to be disheartening. The Buddhist meditation is, you sit quietly and think of what you had for breakfast, or maybe the potatoes and the toast or whatever you had. And then think about, just imagine, visualize it on the table on your plate. And then imagine what you had for dinner yesterday and all that stuff on your plate. You need now 2 or 3 plates. And then what you had for lunch and for breakfast yesterday. And what you had for, what you ate all week long. And that's a lot. It'll overflow the table. 1 week, whatever I've eaten. And then you imagine how much, you keep on adding, how much did I eat? How much rice and dal and vegetables and yogurt and all that I have consumed over a month and over the last year. Now you can't keep it in your dining room. You have to take it out into the lawn outside. And then over the years of our life, the mountains of rice, the lakes of dal and soup, and the warehouses of vegetables, all of which has gone into this one body, I cannot deny it, into this one body. Even the great monsters, the demons of mythology, we don't eat that much. And I have poured all of that resources, enormous amount of resources, over days, weeks, months, years, and decades of my life. I've just poured it all into this body. And I've used all those resources for what? What have I got to show myself and society and the world for all of that, which the world unstintingly has poured into me? And that's disheartening. let alone society and the world, I haven't been much good to myself also. So this is where spirituality comes in, to take charge of our life and to see, to just consider the enormous resources which you are using up. All right. So food body, it changes so much, and I am the unchanging. Changing, unchanging cannot be the same thing. We are immediately struck with this idea that we change so much, but I don't think I have changed. The body has changed, but I am the same person. Body is not at all the same. And yet I say I am the same person. How can I be the body? It's literally contradictory. Changing, unchanging cannot be the same thing. A nun in California a few years ago, she told me, I was walking past a shop front, and I looked at the reflection in the glass in the shop, and I thought to myself, who is that old lady? Because in my mind, I am the 21-year-old. Just the other day, I entered the convent and became a nun. And now I'm 80. So I am 80. What's that? That's the body. Over the decades, it's changed so much. But I feel like I'm the same person. Intuitively, I feel I'm same. So changing and unchanging cannot be the same thing. I cannot literally be the body. And another thing, the body is an object, just like this vase of flowers, just like this table. It's an object. Just I can see this vase of flowers, I can see this table, I can see my body. I can see the body here. I can not only see the body, I can touch it, smell it, I can hear the tummy rumbling. All 5 senses can objectify the body. So I am the knower of the body. I am the seer of the body. The body is the known and the seen. And what did we do yesterday, those who were here? Seer and the seen, are they same or different? Same or different? Different. The seer and the seen. The seer and the seen cannot be literally the same thing. So if I am experiencing the body, if I am seeing the body must be something different from I, the experiencer, from I, the seer. So the two, I cannot be literally the body. The body is something it's a thing which I'm seeing. Whether you see it outside or inside, oh, the horror of it. If you see it from what's literally inside. Outside is still pretty nice. Inside, all the gooey, icky, wet stuff is there inside, the biological machinery which keeps this body going. No, if you see it from outside, no, I can sort of think of this as I. If you see it from the inside, you will all deny it. That's not me. That's not me. That's awful. I will feel like throwing up if I see what's the inside. So, I am not the body because I am the seer, the knower of the body, and the body is the known. And then next, more subtle. I am aware of the body. The body is not aware of me. I am aware. The body is not aware. How do you know that? Look at the hand. And this is an experiment suggested by the New York psychologist Greg Good, who's also a Vedantin. He says, just look at the hand and notice what's our feeling. I am aware of the hand. The hand is not aware of me. Okay, that would be weird if the hand just said, hello, Swami. No, it never does that. You clearly feel I am aware of it. It's not aware of me. It's not aware of itself. It's not aware of the other hand. The hand is not aware of itself. The hand is not aware of the other hand. The hand is not aware of me. It's not aware of anything at all. I am aware of it. I am aware of myself. And I'm aware of other things too. So what does that mean? The hand is a part of the body. I'm not aware of it. I'm aware of it. It's not aware of itself or me. That's true of every part of the body. This hand too. And the tummy and the chest and the head and all of it put together. I'm aware of it. It's not aware of me. It's not aware of itself. It's not aware of anything else. I'm aware of it. It's a strange way of thinking. We don't think about it this way, but it's interesting. So I am conscious. I am aware. I am sentient. The body in itself, the body feels conscious because you are there in the body. But the body is not in itself aware of itself or anything else. So the aware, not aware. Therefore, I cannot be the body. We've already got 3 arguments, 3 pointers. Changing, not changing. I am unchanging. The body is continuously changing. Changing and unchanging, it's contradictory. They cannot be literally the same thing. Somebody is running. If you catch hold of somebody who's running, either you'll be dragged along or that person has to stop. You can't have running and staying still at the same time. Similarly, body is changing continuously. And if you feel you are the same one, then you and the body cannot be the same thing. So changing, unchanging, seer and the seen, aware, not aware, conscious, not conscious. Therefore, I cannot be the body. I am unchanging, I am the seer, I am conscious. The body is changing, the body is the seen, the body is not conscious. It cannot be the same thing. Moving on, or rather moving inwards. So I'm not the body. Body is there, but I'm not the body. Then what am I? I'm clearly here. I'm here. But what am I? So the Upanishad says, look inwards, a little more subtly. Inwards means not inwards into the body. You'll find all the icky stuff there. Inwards in our own experience. What's closer to me in my lived experience? Let's take the breath. Prana. Prana means all the vital forces which keep this body alive. Okay, I'm not just this body, I'm not a piece of flesh, but I am life itself, maybe. I am prana, which is very important in Ayurveda, in yoga. So am I prana, am I life? And the Vedanta tells us, take a look. Does prana change? Yes, it does. There is in-breath, there is out-breath. There is hunger and thirst, and when you eat, there is satiety. There is health, there is sickness, and there is recovery. All of it the play of prana, changing continuously, like the tides in this the English Channel there. The tides of prana are ever flowing and surging in this living body. You are the same person. You are the same person whether you're breathing in or you're breathing out. You're the same person who felt hungry, and after you had a bite to eat, you're the same person, or we feel full. You did not change. Prana changed. In hunger and thirst, in sickness and health, in breathing in and breathing out, and all the multiple functions of prana. There's continuous change. But I am the same person. Changing, unchanging, I cannot be the prana. Third, the second one is seer and seen. Can I see the prana? Am I the knower of the prana? Is the prana something that is known? Yes, it has to be. Our entire, the vipassana meditation, mindfulness meditation, it's a billion-dollar industry in the United States. It all depends on you being aware of the prana, of the breathing. What's the first instruction you get? Breathing in, count 1, I'm breathing in. Breathing out, count 2, I'm breathing out. And so you are the knower of the breath. You are not literally the breath. You're not literally the prana. The movement of prana is something that is known. You are the seer, you're the knower, and the prana is something seen or known. And seer and seen are different. So I am not the prana. It's something that's seen, observed. Third, I am aware, I am conscious of the breath and other activities of prana. Prana by itself is not conscious. When I breathe in, the breath is not conscious of me. I say, Swami, I'm coming in now, I'm coming in. And when the breathing out goes out, the breath is not saying, make way, I'm going out. No. It's just a mechanical action, a biological machinery, and I'm aware of it. I'm aware. The breath is not aware. Aware, not aware. I cannot be the breath. So again, the same three arguments. Changing, not changing. Seer and seen. Aware, not aware. Therefore, I, the unchanging, seer, conscious, cannot be the ever-changing, seen, non-conscious breath. Prana. The Upanishad says, good. We are making progress. Towards what? Remember, the cave of the heart. We're trying to, the claim is that when we investigate this deeper and deeper, finally we will find ourselves and we will discover Atman, Brahman, limitless existence, consciousness, bliss, and what have you. So that's the claim. They're going to pull the rug out from under our feet very soon, but that we'll see. Then what else remains? The Upanishad says, Anyoantaratma manomayaha. The self is there. You do exist. You're not the body, you're not the prana. But what's there? Take a look. Thoughts, feelings, emotions, ideas. The mind. The mind. Ah, yes. Now we say, I am the mind. That's what I was driving at all along. I'd never thought that I was a bundle of flesh and blood and bones. I never thought I was the breath whooshing in and out of my lungs. I am the mind. I'm a person. That's what I wanted to say all along. Well, take a look again. Does the mind change? Oh boy, does it change. All the time, all my life, from childhood. I mean, what my mind was as a teenager, I can't even bear to think about it. I cannot deny that was this very mind. It was like that. It changed to youth and middle age. Our knowledge changes, our feelings change, our memories change, our desires and goals and ambitions change, our hurts and resentments and regrets change. All of that changes over years, over months, over days. In one day, it changes so much. The mind changes. And I say, I am the same one who was in, that was my mind when I was a child and a teenager and a young person. The mind changes so much. And I am the same one. Unchanging, changing cannot be the same. Whatever I am, I cannot be the ever-changing mind. What about seer and seen? Can I see the mind? Yes. Introspect. Take a look right now, and you'll see the mind, the display of the mind. Thoughts, ideas, memories, questions. Where is he going with this? When is it going to end? Because when is it going to end? You sometimes get this feeling. The Vedanta, they can go on and on and on, belaboring the same point. There was this, one of the monks I joined under, I was trained by him. I'm eternally grateful to him. A very great monk of our order. And he trained under a disciple of Sarada Devi, Swami Premishanandaji, who was regarded in our order as an enlightened person. So this old monk, my mentor, my Swami, told me that this Swami he trained under many years ago in the 1950s. Day and night he would hammer into him. And he was that Swami was very old and feeble. He had to be helped to the bathroom at odd hours in the night. So he's taking him to the bathroom, this young monastic novice. And in the bathroom, in the washroom, he's standing there holding on to this newcomer, this young monk, and saying, "But you must understand, you're not the body, it's made of food." And he said, I could barely keep my eyes open. Yes, I've heard it 1,000 times, Swami, hurry up now. So they tend to go on and on. I remember this monk who was teaching the Mandukya Upanishad. He was starting the Mandukya Upanishad with the Karika of Gaudapada and the commentary of Shankaracharya and the sub-commentary of Anandagiri. That's the first class. And this monk started. It's hilarious. Somebody at the back said, how long is this going to take? And this monk was very gentle, so he didn't lose his temper. He said, "Oh, there's no end to it as long as you're breathing. It goes on." In Hindi, he said, "Jab tak saas chalegi, mandukya chalega." As long as your breath is flowing, the mandukya also will flow. And not all teachers are so patient. There's another monk, again in the Himalayas. He was starting a class on Sanskrit grammar. Unless you are a fan of Sanskrit, they love grammar. But the rest of us, it's very dry. It's very boring. So starting a class on Sanskrit grammar, and somebody at the back said, I don't know if it was the same guy at the back, who said, "How long is this going to take again?" And this Swami, he lost his temper. Out with you, just now. You leave right now. I won't have such questions in the class. Yeah. So the mind in itself, it is not the self. You are the witness of the mind. You are aware of it. The mind is not aware. The mind is seen. You're different from the mind because you're the seer of the mind, and the mind is something seen. You are aware of the mind. And you are making a stunning statement. The mind is not aware. It feels aware. Right now you look at the mind, thoughts, feelings, emotions, feels aware. But that's you, the awareness. Mind is borrowing awareness from you. It's not aware. It's like a mirror. When you look at the mirror, there's a face in the mirror. But the face in the mirror doesn't belong to the mirror. It's there because you're looking at it. Right? So the mind shines with borrowed consciousness. I am unchanging, the mind is ever changing. I am the knower of the mind, seer of the mind is the seen. I am aware of the mind is not aware. How do you say that the mind is not aware? Take a look right now. Think a thought, A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4. Are you aware of A, B, C, D or 1, 2, 3, 4? Is 1, 2, 3, 4 aware of you? Does 1, 2, 3, 4 go, the Swami is thinking me again? No, it doesn't do that. I am aware of it. So all my thoughts and feelings and emotions and ideas, they're like mental talk and images, and we are aware of them. They are not aware of us. They're not aware of each other. They're not aware of themselves also. So awareness is on your side, not on the side of thoughts. Because of this changing and unchanging, seer and seen, aware and not aware, I am not even the mind. And the Upanishad is relentless. Go deeper. What is deeper than the mind? Anyantaratma vijnanamayaha. The self is inwards, subtler, inwards. The intellect, the same thing as the mind, another function of the mind. The capacity to understand, the feeling that I get it, I know, I understand this. This is knowledge. Even the intellect, the same thing. It changes. It is something that is, you can observe it. And it is something that you are aware of it, it's not aware of you. It's a function of the mind. Intellect, buddhi, or in the words of the Upanishad, vijnanamaya. So I'm not even the intellect. And now we are in deep waters. We are going deeper and deeper into the cave. What's that cave? You yourself. You're going deeper and deeper into yourself. What have we gone past? Not the body, the outermost layer of the cave. The food body, food sheath, annamaya. And the Upanishad says, not Upanishad, the commentators say, consider it a sheath, a covering. Annamaya kosha. You're not it. It's a covering. You are in there somewhere. Then next is the prana, the vital sheath. You are not that also. Remember why you are not that. Changing, unchanging, seer, seen, aware, not aware. And then you go inwards. The vital sheath, pranamaya, you are not even that. Then the mind, I'm not even the mind. Even the mind is a covering. The manomaya kosha, the mind sheath. Then the intellect. I'm not even the intellect. That's a covering too. The vijnanamaya kosha. As we go deeper and deeper into ourselves, into the cave of ourselves, then we come to, what will you get there? Blankness. Nothing. Something that we experience in deep sleep or in deep meditation when you shut everything down. Not the body, turn your attention away from the body. Not the breath, turn your attention inwards to the breath. Not the mind, turn your attention inwards to the mind. Not the intellect, turn your attention inwards to the intellect. Just imagine, if you are not thinking of the world, not experiencing the world, if you're not aware of the body, you're not aware of the breath, not aware of the mind, not aware of the intellect, all of it shut down. No perceptions, no thinking, no memory, no sensations. Absolute quiet. It's like deep sleep. And the Upanishad tells you, it points out, that also is subject. There's change going on there too. It's a bit of Vedanta philosophy. The sattva, rajas, tamas, which constitute maya, they're in constant dynamic flux, even in deep sleep. And that's an object too. You know it, because you wake up and say, I experienced the blankness of deep sleep. And you are aware of it. The blankness of deep sleep is not aware of you. You're not aware of it in the sense that I am sleeping. In that case, you wouldn't be sleeping. But it's a kind of light shining in the darkness. Consciousness is there. And these things can be discussed. I'm not going to go into the details of it. A lot of subtle argumentation is here. But even in that darkness, that's not me. Then what am I? We have been sort of led on deeper and deeper. It's like Russian nesting dolls. You know what Russian nesting dolls are? Somebody showed it to me. So there's a big doll and you lift it and there's a small doll inside. And you lift that, there's a smaller doll inside. We have been sort of led to think that here is this like a Russian nesting doll. The body and the vital sheath and the mental sheath and the intellect sheath and the causal, the anandamaya, like the deep sleep sheath. And finally the Upanishad will tell us, will show us some limitless existence, consciousness, bliss. Wasn't that promised? When we come to that point, not the body, not the prana, not the mind, not the intellect, not the blankness beyond the intellect, then the Upanishad keeps quiet, doesn't say anything. You promised, we go, you promised to show us the Atman, that I am the Atman. Upanishad doesn't say anything. But then, what do you mean? Don't I exist? Doesn't the Atman, Brahman exist? Because I've said I'm not the body, not the mind, and so on and so forth. Where is the Atman? Doesn't it exist then? And the Upanishad, the words are, the student asks, Asat Brahma iti Veda chet, suppose I think then Atman, Brahman doesn't exist. All of this was some theory, it's not real. The Upanishad answers, the teacher answers, Asanneva sabhavati. Then that person wouldn't exist. You do exist. See, this is the first thing, the core idea that I do exist. I don't know what I am, but I am. I do exist. I'm not aware. You have convinced me I cannot be literally the body. You've convinced me I cannot be the prana or the mind or the intellect. But I am. No matter how much you argue, no matter how much you cancel my existence. Cancel culture, you see. The Vedanta is doing a good job of it. But you cannot cancel me. I exist. It's the first fact. The French philosopher Descartes, when he investigated what could be doubted, he could doubt the entire world more than 300 years ago. He is probably the most important figure setting up what is the modern philosophy of mind. So he could doubt the existence of the entire world. It could be a dream. It could be a Matrix movie or something like that. But I cannot doubt my own existence. His famous cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I exist. Even if I doubted my own existence, that would be a thought. I wonder if I exist. You exist because you just wondered. So you are the thinker, as a thinker of thoughts, even the thinker of the most skeptical thoughts, your own existence is indubitable. My own existence is indubitable. Even if the Upanishad convinces me 1,000 times, and not the body, not the mind, but I know I am. But then what am I? What am I? Everything I could think of, the Upanishad Vedanta has convinced me, quite convincingly it has shown me, I cannot be the body, I cannot be the prana, I cannot be the mind, I cannot be the intellect. They are all there, but I am not them. Then what am I? Then what am I? Here's where the story comes in. The story is going to help us here. What happened? Look back at the story. Now, this is the final part of the instruction, and then we'll go into a short meditation. So, what happened in the story? He couldn't find the 10th person. But why couldn't he? Let me ask you, why couldn't he find the 10th person? Remember the story? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Where's the 10th person? Couldn't find the 10th person. Let me ask you, why couldn't he find the 10th person? He was, yes, looking externally. He was not counting himself, right? He was not counting himself. 10 people, there are 10 people, but he was only counting others. But why was he not counting himself? And he said, looking externally. Because he was just looking outside. He was not looking towards himself. But then, let me ask you, why was he looking outside? Why did he think that the 10th person would be there? Object, yes. Because everything is extra. Yeah, you're right. That's the point. He found 9 people outside. He has pretty good reason to think the 10th person would be outside. On the precedence of the other 9 being outside, I found the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th guy outside. They're all there. So that it follows. It's very logical. The 10th person also must be there. But isn't there. Clearly isn't there. So the 10th person must have drowned. Whatever. But 9 were found outside. And this shows, see, all of our knowledge is objective knowledge. Whatever we have known in our lives, all our lives, is a thing. Is a thing. Either it's something that we see, hear, smell, taste, touch, form, sounds, smell, taste, flavor. They're all objective or internal. memories, ideas, feelings, desires, likes and dislikes, internal. But they are also objects. I'm aware of them. I'm aware of them. They are things. They are either physical objects externally or subtle objects in the mind. But they're all objects. There's nothing else that I've ever known all my life, nothing else that anybody else has known. And so clearly when I'm introduced to the idea of Atman, Brahman, the real self, pure consciousness, pure being, it's inevitable that I will look for it as an object. But you'll never find it as an object. You'll never find it because it is the subject. Looker will never find what he's looking for, because what he's looking for is the looker. David Hume, who was here a few hundred years ago, he said, when people speak of the self and I introspect within myself, all I find is a procession of thoughts and sensations and memories. I do not find anything corresponding to the self. Now we can say, well, David, you're looking in the wrong place. You're trying to find the 10th man. You will never find it, not because the self does not exist, but because it's not an object. It is you yourself. That turning has to happen. The 10th person is not like the other 9. It's not out there. So you have to you have to count the 9, and then from the 9 you have to turn to the 10th. Similarly, this is the beauty of the teaching of the Upanishads. You have to turn, here is the crucial, the one takeaway instruction. You have to listen carefully. You have to attend to the body, and subtler than that, the breath, subtler than that, the mind, subtler than that, the intellect, and subtler than that, the blankness when you drop everything, and then turn from there into the one to whom all these 5 are appearing. 5, body, prana, mind, intellect, and the blankness. All 5 are appearing and disappearing to whom? You have to turn inwards like that. You are the 10th. The turning I can't do for you. You have to do that. It's easy and a little difficult at the same time. It's easy because you are it. It's right there. It's available all the time, effortlessly, choicelessly. You can't help not being there. You can't help being there. You are there all the time. But it's difficult because we have an objectifying tendency. The thing we must not do, and this is crucial. This is crucial. Right now, listening to all this, we have been primed to objectify the self. Because, I've been told I'm limitless existence, consciousness. I must find it. I must find it. Where is it? Where is it? Never find it. What we must do is, as we turn inwards, we must be very clear that I am not those 5. Those are the 5 I was identifying myself with. I am very clear I am not those 5, yet I am. I am that to which all those 5 are appearing, and then do not try to grab it, built in the meditation, do not try to grab it, grasp it objectively. Just remain as is, without identifying with any of the 5. All right, enough said. Short meditation, then Q&A. Sit relaxed. Straight but not rigid. It's helpful to still the body and to make the breath rhythmic and regular, and to still the mind. So, gently open your eyes and look at the body. This ever-changing body, I, the unchanging, I cannot be. This seen body, which I can see, hear, smell, taste, touch, I, the seer, I cannot be this body. And I am aware of the body. The body is not aware of me. I, the sentient, the conscience, awareness, I cannot be the insentient, non-conscious body. Gently close your eyes. Breathe in, breathe out. Watch the breath breathing normally. This ever-flowing breath, it changes. Therefore, I, the unchanging, cannot be the changing breath. I am not the breath. It is something that I can watch. I know the breath. The breath is something known. I am the seer. The breath is seen. Seer and seen are different. Therefore, I cannot be the breath. I am aware of the breath. Notice as you breathe in and breathe out, I am aware of the breath. But breath is not aware of me or of itself or anything else. So I, the unchanging seer awareness, cannot be the breath. Turn further inwards into my own experience. And there are thoughts, there are feelings, pleasant, unpleasant. There are expectations and desires. There are memories. That is the mind. And this mind changes. And I can observe this mind. And I am aware the mind, the thoughts, feelings, emotions by themselves are not aware. I, the unchanging, seer, aware, cannot be the changing, seen, not aware, thoughts, feelings, emotions. I am the witness of the mind. I am not the mind. Same goes for the intellect as we look inwards. A subtler function of the mind is power of understanding, comprehension, which I am using right now. That too changes. That too can be observed. And the intellect too is not aware. I am aware of the intellect. Therefore, I, the unchanging seer awareness, cannot be the ever-changing, seen, not aware intellect. If there are no external perceptions, if I drop the body, the breath, the mind, intellect, the deep blankness which is experienced in deep sleep, that too is an object, that too comes and goes, that too is not aware, it's insentient. I cannot be it. I am that to which all these five appear. They are all objects, subtler and subtler. I am not an object. I am not the body. So the birth of the body is not my birth. The death of the body is not my death. The aging of the body, the aches of the body, the pains of the body, the look of the body, the gender of the body is not my aging, is not my aches, is not my look, is not my gender. I am beyond pain, the observer of pain. I am beyond gender. The prana, hunger and thirst, restlessness and energy and weakness, health and illness, they all belong to the prana. I am beyond illness. I am beyond weakness and energy. I am ever the observer, never the observed. I do not flow out with the outgoing breath. I do not enter with the incoming breath. I am the awareness in which these happen. I, the unchanging. The prana is always changing. The mind, happiness and misery, desire and frustration, they belong to the mind, not to me. Guilt, regret, lack of fulfillment, they belong to the mind, not to me. I am ever fulfilled. I expect nothing, nor am I waiting for anything. It's the mind which expects and waits. It is the mind which is afraid. I have no fear. The intellect, the understanding and the dullness belong to an intellect, not to me. Beyond that, the darkness of deep sleep, anesthesia, coma, that comes and goes like day and night. There is no day and night in the sun. It is day forever. It is blazing forth with light. I am awareness, not an object. But everything to me is an object. Gently open your eyes. All right, what did you think of that? One thing is, whatever we did yesterday, what we are pointing towards is exactly what this is pointing towards. We should recognize that. The seer and the seen and the method of the 5 sheets, they're all different approaches, but they point towards the same reality. All right, let's take some questions. You have to catch her attention. Who's the volunteer? All right. You have to catch her attention, or you have to bribe her or pay her off or something like that, you know. Tell us your name and ask the question.
Hello, Swami. My name is Jeff. I have a problem getting clarity between mind and intellect. I can't seem to have a clear explanation what is intellect and what is mind.
Yes, I'll give you the answer. There are clear definitions in Vedanta. But let me say, the issue is not a big issue.
I'll give it to you, Guru.
The issue is not a big issue. Remember, what were we trying to accomplish? If you just take a step back and notice the procedure, what was going on, it's basically inwardizing our attention and making it subtler. The objects of our attention are becoming subtler and subtler. What do I mean by that? The first object of our attention is right here. It's public. In English, we have always translated the physical body. In Sanskrit, sthula sharira, we have translated it as gross body. And the body can be gross, but in America it gives a wrong connotation. It's like what, if you in America right now, teenagers will say something like, ew, gross. And the body can be ew, gross, but so what we are trying to do is making the object of our attention subtler and subtler. You start with the physical body or the gross body. That's pretty obvious. Then you go to something subtler. The object of your attention is now the breath. Much subtler than the physical body. Then the object of your attention becomes even more subtle. The mind, thoughts, feelings, emotions. Then the object of your attention, we have to make it even more subtle. One more function of the mind. Here's the thing. But when we're talking about intellect, it is the mind itself. That's why you're finding it difficult to distinguish. So it's the intellect is just the mind itself, but one subtle function of the mind, you can call it the higher mind or the intellect, the capacity of understanding. The mind does many things. Remembers, desires, feels. takes in all perceptions from all the 5 sense organs. All of this the mind does. It's like a processing unit. But the intellect is that function. It's the function of the mind, but what does it do? What's the unique thing that intellect does? It's called the determinative faculty, the capacity of comprehension, understanding, the feeling you get, I get it. So I'll distinguish the mind and intellect. I'll give an example. When we were kids working on, say, math problems, and so we worked and worked, I'm not getting it, I'm trying to understand it, and then a moment comes, a breakthrough, oh, I get it. I did it. I cracked, we used to call it in India, we cracked the problem. So that moment of comprehension, getting it, the dawn of understanding is intellect. Now you might say, but that's just the mind. Yes, it's one function of the mind. It's one of the highest functions of the mind, subtlest functions of the mind. And why are we separating it? Because our whole function here is to make the attention subtler and subtler, inwards and inwards. Also because we are using that capacity of that mind, of the mind to understand all this. We are using the intellect. So intellect, now let me give you the definitions. So mind and intellect. In Vedanta, one of the definitions of mind is, the definition of mind, definition of intellect. Definition of mind, the Sanskrit definition is, sankalpa vikalpatmakam manaha. Mind is that which is the processing capacity. When all sorts of stuff is there coming in from the world and from our memory and stuff, and the mind is churning, that's called the mind. What is intellect? Nishchayatmika antakkarana vritti manaha, buddhi. Nishchayatmika antakkarana vritti buddhi. That movement of the mind which results in knowledge, dawning of comprehension, understanding, that's called buddhi, the determinative faculty. Yeah. All right.
Hello. Wow.
Where are you?
I'm over here. Hello.
Yes. Tell us your name and ask the question.
I'm Charlotte, and I was just wondered if we're not our emotions and thoughts, because we can observe them. Why do we have likes and dislikes? And because obviously we love our family, and why do we fall in love with certain people specifically? And how do we deal with the feeling of, if we're not that,
right,
is that feeling real? Does that make sense?
Yes. So when we say we are not the body, not the mind, or not the emotions, we're not denying that the body is there. We're not denying that the mind is there. We're not denying that the emotions are there. And it's good that they are there. They make our lives richer. But you are not literally a feeling. Feelings come and go. But you are there. You are there before falling in love. You are there when you are in love. And you are also there when you fall out of love. So what is that which preceded the feeling of love, which was there during the feeling of love, and there was there after the feeling of love disappeared? Feeling of love, feeling of disgust, feeling of liking, desiring, feeling of sublime feelings, aesthetic feelings. They all are different shades of emotions and feelings which are very powerful, very important in our lives. But they come and go. They are functions of the mind. And you are not literally the mind. It's like you have a phone with lots of apps, but you are none of those apps. They all help you. They make your phone richer. They make your life richer. So similarly, emotions are there. They are part of our mental makeup. But what Vedanta wants to say is, it wants you to step back and see that you are not defined by your emotions. You are not trapped by your emotions. Let the emotions enrich your life, but don't be a slave to the emotions. Yeah. You are bigger than your emotions. You're bigger than your thoughts. You're bigger than your memories. You're bigger than your personal narrative or personal story. Yeah.
Hello, Swamiji. Yeah.
Where are you? Yes.
I'm Uma. My question is, if we know intellect is not awareness, and the mind and intellect try to understand the concept because we use it to understand the spirituality.
Yes.
How do we know that it's not taking over? How that intellect and mind...
What are not? Oh, they have already taken over. The mind has taken over. Yes, but what did you want to ask?
So how do I know in a place that the awareness is what's saying it, not the mind trying to play as awareness and try to say it?
Yes. So there are two parts to it. How do I know that it's not the mind taking over, the intellect taking over and fooling us or trapping us? And how do I know that it's really I am awareness and witness of the mind? It's not just one more thought. It looks like one more thought. I am awareness, I am pure consciousness. Why? Because the Swami says so. It's just one more thought. But awareness itself is not one more thought. It's there before the thought began. Notice one thing. Thoughts are different from each other. Let me start here. You are seeing this orange cloth, right? Right? So you are aware of this orange cloth. You're seeing and all of that, but you're aware of this orange cloth. Now you are aware of this cup of water. Next, you are aware of these candles, and then you are aware of these flowers. They are all different. The cloth is not the cup is not the candles are not the flowers. They're all different, right? But what was common to your experience of the cloth and the cup and the candles and the flowers? What was common to all of them? You were aware. All throughout you are aware. Now you cannot say that the awareness is a cloth or the awareness is a cup. You cannot say the awareness is a candle or a flower. You say, obviously not. That's silly. Well, that's exactly what we are doing when we think. A lot of thoughts are coming. A thought of, of what I'm going to do next, of what I had for dinner, of will it rain all day long, various kinds of thoughts. And underlying all the thoughts is awareness. So the awareness cannot be any one thought. Do you see where I'm leading with this? Again, let me ask you this question. This is a philosophical answer to your question. If you know, if it's a thought, how do you know a thought? How is a thought experienced? I'm saying a thought is experienced in awareness. But if awareness was a thought, how would that thought be experienced? It would require another thought to experience this thought. And how would that thought be experienced? But it would require another thought. There must be some background radiance in which all the thoughts are appearing and disappearing, which is not a thought itself. And that's awareness. But you're right. Can you have a thought about awareness? Obviously you can, because that's what we are doing. We are thinking, we're trying to understand what awareness or consciousness is. Those are thoughts. And there's no problem there at all. We are using the intellect to remove our ignorance. There is ignorance about ourselves in the mind, and we are raising knowledge in the mind about ourselves. Ignorance in the mind will be swept away by knowledge in the mind. Both are thoughts, you're left behind as awareness. Yeah. That's the process actually. There was...
Namaste Swamiji, Karthik again.
Yes.
The question I had was, so what you unfolded here, and normally the Upanishads, they have these great sayings or the Mahavakya which reveals the identity of the individual and the total. So in this section, I just wanted to understand, number one, how do I appreciate that I am the reality of everything? And the related one is, which in all of this is actually the Mahavakya? Thank you.
Yes. That's a good question. Always important to ask. See, the process we went through, it is misleading. I'm sorry, I pulled a fast one on you. How is it misleading? Didn't it leave us with the feeling that I am some kind of a spark of awareness in these 5 layers? There's a layer of the body, there's a layer of the prana, there's a layer of the mind, there's a layer of the intellect, and there's some kind of blankness. And beyond that, I am a witness awareness. Like the 10th man. There are these 9, and I'm the 10th man. There are these 5, I'm the consciousness to which it is, all these 5 are appearing. But it seems like I'm a little bit of consciousness, an individual. And there must be so many consciousnesses. In each of this is a system of 5 layers, and inside that, there must be something like a witness consciousness. No. Advaita Vedanta is very clear. As long as we think I am a body in which There is I am a mind, and in which there is a consciousness. I am a consciousness inside a mind, which is inside a body. That's the feeling we get. It's not like that. It's the other way around. I am a consciousness in which appears a mind and a body, in which appears time and space, in which appears and disappears a universe. Now, it's not the fault of the Upanishad. Those who have studied the Upanishad will say that, will notice I took a very one-sided approach to it. I just did one corner of it because of time limitations. This is the part of it which is directly appreciable. But what the Upanishad does itself is, at every stage, starting with the body, I'm not the body, and notice, the Upanishad will tell us, the body is actually a part of an ocean of matter. There is a vast universe of matter. Here is the body. There is air between us, and there are other bodies. And there's the carpet, and there's the tent, and there outside there is air and space, and the whole physical universe is there. It's an ocean of matter. It's one ocean of matter, but I am not it. Then it goes to prana. And it's not just prana in this body. It's connected with the cosmic prana. All the life forces in the entire universe, and indeed all power, energy, movement in the entire universe. It's an ocean of movement. Yes, I'm not it, but it's one ocean of movement, entirety. So like this, and then it goes to the mind. And say, I'm not this mind, I'm the witness, all that's true. But this mind is not an individual mind. It is kind of a wave in an ocean of mind, a cosmic mind. So many thoughts, feelings, emotions across all beings, past, present, and future. There's a concept in Vedanta called Hiranyagarbha. Literally, it means the golden womb or the golden egg, but it refers to the cosmic mind. Imagine all our minds connected together, an internet, world wide web, universe wide web of the mind. That's the cosmic mind. But you are not that either. And then it goes further, the intellect, and then the blankness which I talked about. That's actually Maya, cosmic ignorance, or cosmic veiling. You're not that either. And when you step back from that, and I am the awareness, you already have oneness. The whole universe, cosmic Maya, cosmic intellect and mind, cosmic prana, and the cosmic body, all of that, you realize yourself as the one underlying consciousness of the entire cosmos. Yeah. So oneness is established. Where is the Mahavakya? Yes. Traditionally, there are 4 Mahavakyas. Mahavakya means which tells you what you are, the identity of the individual in the cosmic. There are traditionally 4 Mahavakyas. So one is from the Aitreya Upanishad, from the Rig Veda, Prajnanam Brahma, consciousness is Brahman. There is one from the Chandogya Upanishad, from the Sama Veda, Tattvamasi, the well-known, thou art that, you are that. Then there is one from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad in the Yajur Veda, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. They all mean the same thing. And then there's one from the Atharva Veda, the Mandukya Upanishad, I am Atma Brahma. This very self is Brahman. The Taittiriya Upanishad does not have one of the 4 traditional Mahavakyas, but all the Upanishads have Mahavakyas. The whole teaching is a Mahavakya. In fact, in the Taittiriya Upanishad, you will get a Mahavakya very soon. Not in the portion which I talked about, but in the end of the 2nd chapter of the Taittiriya Upanishad. That deity which is the sun, and that one which is in the individual, that one which is the limited individual, that one which is the cosmic, they are one. Sa ekaha. That's in the 8th section of the 2nd chapter of the Taittiriya Upanishad. And Brahmananda Valli Ashtamanuvaka, I think 8, I've forgotten the section. At the very end it comes. They are one. That is technically a Mahavakya, not conventionally. We have time for one more question.
Hi.
I'll give you a chance, yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for your talk, Swamiji. I'm Martin, and I'd just like to explore one consciousness a little bit further. Everything that you said yesterday and today was based upon knowing, and most of what you've gone through around the mind, prana, the body, I can know it, and I can know it in the moment. I'm wondering if what the practical ways are to get to know one consciousness, because I'm stuck in the fact that it's the consciousness that I experience that could be different to the awareness that you're experiencing.
Right. So how do you know consciousness is one? Clearly bodies are many. Just take a look around. So many bodies. Clearly minds are many, but that's what makes us different persons. Thoughts, feelings, emotions, personal stories. We are different, and that's great. We're all different. But deep within, Advaita Vedanta says, at our basis foundation, we are one consciousness. But why? Why should I accept that? Advaita Vedanta turns the question around on itself. He says, why would you think consciousness is different? Why would you think there are different consciousnesses? There's a whole philosophy which says that consciousness is different. It's called Sankhya. It says each person is a different consciousness. Limitless consciousness, true. Free of body and mind, true. But they're different. Advaita Vedanta says, why? Clearly, I can tell you why bodies are different. I can show you. I can show you why minds are different. But try to show consciousness by itself, apart from body and mind. What would distinguish one consciousness from another? If you think about that, there's nothing. There's nothing that would distinguish consciousness from consciousness. I think it was von Heisenberg who said, consciousness is that singular which has no plural. So there are many arguments for that. If you see the debates between the Sankhyan and the Advaitin on this point, is it one consciousness or many? Bhagavad Gita, for example, Krishna says, Kshetragyam chapi mam viddhi sarva kshetreshu bharasa, which is Sanskrit for, I am the one consciousness, the one knower of the field in all fields. But just the answer to your question directly is, think about how would you distinguish one consciousness from another? And you will come pretty soon see it's a distinction, either physical distinctions or mental distinctions, but no distinction in consciousness. All right, we have run entirely out of time. Can I take just one? This lady has been very persistently raising her hand, so she raised her hand before and after every question, so could we just, yeah, you have to raise your hand. One, yeah. I'll just take that quickly and we'll wrap it up.
Hello, hi, I'm Pat. Just quick question, sorry about the persistence. So I've been studying a bit of Buddhism, and my question is the difference between Atman and Anatta, because everything else really made sense up to the point of existence versus non-self.
Yes.
Okay.
So self versus non-self. Buddhism versus Hinduism, basically, not even just Advaita Vedanta. And there are large parts of Hindu philosophy and Buddhist philosophy which differ very significantly on this point. It led to a 1,000-year debate. Is there a self or is there no self? The Buddhists say resolutely, there's no such thing as a self. And the Hindus say, yes, there is. And it's a very sophisticated, intricate debate over 9 to 10 centuries, which I cannot summarize in 1 minute. And there are a lot of discussions on this online. If you want details, I have a talk exactly on this. Search with my name and self, no self. Advaita self, Buddhist, no self. It's on YouTube, that talk is there. Let me give you my conclusion in one sentence. My feeling is that a certain development of Buddhism, sort of final development of Buddhist philosophy, and a final development of Hindu philosophy, coming from the self angle and the no self angle, remarkably very interesting, they come to remarkably similar conclusions. So that's why when you look at the Tibetan Dzogchen traditions, Tibetan Buddhism, philosophically it is a combination of Madhyamaka, the school of the void, emptiness, and the school of mind only, Chittamatra. And on the Hindu side, it is Advaita Vedanta, what I'm talking about. And when you compare them, especially the direct methods in Advaita and the direct methods in Tibetan Buddhism, in Dzogchen Buddhism, they are so similar. They're not the same, but they're like mirror images of each other. So my conclusion, and this is disputed, but my conclusion is they're talking about the same thing. I in fact put it this way. One way of misunderstanding Buddhism and one way of misunderstanding Advaita. The way of misunderstanding Buddhism is they're talking about nothing. They're nihilists. That's not fair. They're not nihilists. It's not about nothing. The way of misunderstanding Advaita Vedanta is they're talking about something. But by now we know it's not a thing. It's not an object. So the conclusion, the way I like to put it is, both of them are talking about no thing. It's not nothing. It's not something. It's no thing. What's that no thing? It's you. Tattvamasi. Thank you.